Hello and welcome to World History, Unit 2, The Classical Civilizations, Lesson 1, The Fall of Rome, Part 1. The central question for our lesson is how do the greatest empires fall? Our agenda and goal statement. I will be able to describe the reasons for an empire to fall or lose their power. Let's begin. This unit on Rome is three sections, and we're going to talk about the rise, the the conquering elements that took place in Rome, and the fall of Rome. And the city of Rome was created as one of the most influential places in the world, and ultimately becomes an empire. It is influential in history and in Christianity and the development and spread of that religion, and also a political system of democracy and a republic all over the world. So let's look at Rome's early rise. The central question from the textbook, and this is Module 6, is why is the legacy of ancient Rome still so important today? The early Romans established a republic which grew into a powerful nation and spread its influence all over the world. The origins of Rome. Rome's geography includes the site of Rome, which was chosen for its fertile soil and strategic location. Located on the Italian peninsula in the center of the Mediterranean Sea, Rome was built on seven hills on the Tiber River. Even though it was built on the Tiber River, it's not considered one of the early river valley civilizations because of its location of the Tiber River, not as a major influence of its development. The first Romans, the Latins, the Greeks, and the Etruscans compete for control of the region. So the first Romans are a part of three groups: the Latins, which were found as the original settlement of Rome between 1000 and 500 BC. Number two, the Etruscans, which were native to northern Italy, and they influenced the Roman civilizations in various ways, and we will discuss that in a few minutes. And the Greeks were also important in the development of Rome. The early republic. So around 600 BC, the Etruscan kings began to rule Rome. The kings built Rome's first temples and public centers. The Romans overthrew the cruel Etruscan king in 509 BC, and they found a republic. What is a republic? A republic is a government in which the citizens elect their leaders. The United States is a republic. Remember, when you say the Pledge of Allegiance, you say, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So remember, the United States is also a republic. The patricians and plebeians. Different groups struggle for power in the early Roman Republic. First, we have the patricians. The patricians are the wealthy land-owning class. They hold most of the power. The plebeians are the artisans, merchants, and farmers. They can vote, but they can't rule. Tribunes are elected representatives who protect the plebeians and political rights. In this picture, you see the plebeians and the patricians. So these are the patricians here with the long robes. And you see the plebeians in the center, these three guys in the center. And then you see the slaves at the end. This is how they dressed, the slaves and the people who were non-citizens. Notice that people who had the most cloth or fabric are considered the wealthy group because the fabric is not cheap. People with the least amount of fabric are generally poor. Now, the military is totally different because their uniforms are systemic throughout the military branch. The 12 tables. In 451 BC, officials carved the Roman laws on 12 tablets. Called the 12 tables, they become the basis for the later Roman law. The laws confirm the right of all free citizens to the protection of the law. Where else have you seen laws put on tables? Hammurabi, the Ten Commandments. What about the laws in Greece, ancient Greece, that were codified? So laws become something of a norm. The government under the Republic. Rome elects two councils. A council is one to lead an army and one to direct the government. So there's two councils, one that leads the army and again one to direct the government. The Senate is chosen from the Roman upper class and makes foreign and domestic policy. The democratic assemblies elect tribunes and make laws for common people. Dictators are leaders appointed briefly in the times of crisis. The Roman army. The Roman army had a legion. What's a legion? A legion is a military unit of 5,000 infantry and supported by a cavalry. The army is powerful and a key factor in Rome's rise to its greatness. So, if you have a question on the test, it says, what is the reason for the rise of Rome? One of the reasons could be the powerful legion or army. Life in the Republic. The Forum. The Forum is the heart of the city. It has the government buildings and temples. The Senate also meet in the Forum in the meeting site, and the key public addresses are delivered in the Forum. The Forum also is a popular place for shopping and a gossip location. Farming and land ownership were highly valued as well in the Republic. Rome conquers Italy. Now, up to this point, Rome is just a city. So let's talk about how Rome's power spreads. Rome's defeat of the Etruscans in the north and the Greek city states in the south, and yes, the Greeks were in the south, was very important to its spread of power. By 265 BC, Rome controls the Italian peninsula. It conquered the peoples that treated the conquered peoples were treated justly, and this enables Rome to grow. Rome's commercial network was very important as it establishes the large trading network. The access to the Mediterranean Sea provides many trade routes. Carthage, which is in North Africa, is a powerful city state and it soon rivals Rome. The war in Carthage became very important and significant to the rise of Rome. The war in Carthage with Carthage was called the Punic Wars. The Punic Wars. This is the war between Carthage, which is in Africa, and Rome, which by this time is the entire peninsula from the Alps in the north to the tip of what we call I like to call the boot of Africa, the peninsula of Italy, sorry. So Rome defeats Carthage and wins Sicily. That means that North Africa um, controlled Sicily. Sicily was a part of North Africa, and the city of Carthage, or the area of Carthage, which is in North Africa, actually was controlled and owned by Sicily. Owned Sicily. So Rome defeats Carthage and wins Sicily in the first 23 years of the war. Hannibal, an African general from Carthage, an area of North Africa, avenges the defeat in the Second Punic War. So he avenges the defeat of the win of Sicily from Carthage, from North Africa to Italy. Hannibal carries African war elephants to Rome through the Alps mountains. So basically, so basically Hannibal attacks Italy on elephants. And he goes from the north, so he goes around through Spain and around and down through the Alp mountains. The attacks on Italy through Spain was not successful, but it was very significant in the life of Hannibal because it made him one of the best military strategists in the world at that time. And it also made him very important, very significant as a military leader. Rome triumphs. So the Roman general Scipio defeats Hannibal in 202 BC. And Hannibal then goes into exile and he becomes a military general for other empires in the area until his death later on. Rome destroys Carthage and enslaves the people in the last war. So Rome goes to Africa. The Roman armies go to Africa. They win over the area of Carthage and they enslave the people of Africa in the last war that was 149 to 146 BC. A lot of the areas of North Africa um, were defeated, like Egypt, etc. And so those people are a mixture of Italian and other European peoples and African together. Okay, so when you see North Africa, you see that it is a little bit lighter than the people of the northern part of Africa are lighter than the people south of the Sahara because of the invasions of the Europeans of that area. Now, the key terms for this section: 1. Republic, 2. Patrician, 3. Plebeian, 4. Tribune, 5. Council, 6. Senate, 7. Dictator, 8. Hannibal, 9. Legion, and 10. Punic Wars. You can stop the video at any time and take the notes. Let's talk about the Roman Empire. The creation of the Roman Empire transformed the Roman government, society, and economy. The Republic collapses. The economic turmoil is one of the reasons for the collapse of the Republic. The military upheaval is another reason. So let's talk about the economic turmoil. The gap between the rich and the poor widens as the Roman Republic grows. Farmers, former soldiers, lose to large estates and become homeless. Farmers and soldiers become homeless. Two tribunes, Tiberius and Gaius, try to help the poor and they are murdered for it. A civil war brews because of it. And what is a civil war? It is a conflict between groups within the same country. The military upheaval becomes becomes very important because it also contributes to the collapse of the republic. The military becomes less disciplined and disloyal. Soldiers are recruited from the poor, and they show loyalty only to their generals. Julius Caesar takes control as a military leader, and he's elected to the council in 59 BC. Caesar, Crassus, and Pompey form a triumvirate. A triumvirate is a group of 3 rulers. The military victories give Caesar increasing popularity and power. Pompey fears Caesar's growing power and challenges him. Caesar defeats Pompey's armies in Greece, Asia, Spain, and Egypt. So in Greece, in Asia, in Spain, and Egypt. So that's Greece is in Europe, and it's on the border between Asia and Europe. Spain, which is in Europe, and Egypt, which is in Africa. So they're basically fighting each other, and they're supposed to be partners or a triumvirate or a group of three rulers. They're supposed to be ruling together, but they're fighting each other on three continents. Let that sink in for a second. Caesar is named dictator for life in 44 BC. And here's an actual bust of sculpture or bust of Julius Caesar. Here's another statue of Julius Caesar as well. Caesar's reforms. Caesar makes reforms, grants wider citizenship, and creates jobs for the poor. A group of senators opposes Caesar, and they kill him on March 15, 44 BC. And one of the people who kill him is his best friend, Brutus. The last thing that he says is, Et tu, Brute? And you, Brutus? They get together, they corner him in a room, and they stab him. So when Caesar is making reforms and, granting wider citizenship and creating jobs for the poor, people don't like this. Why do you think it's that the other group of senators don't like the fact that Caesar is making reforms that helps people to become citizens and creates jobs for the poor? Something to think about. You can pause and think about this question. Beginning of the empire. In 43 BC, Caesar's supporters take control and become the second triumvirate. Octavian, Mark Antony, and Lepidus' alliance ends in jealousy and violence. We've seen that before, right? With Julius Caesar and his triumvirate. In 31 BC, Mark Antony and Cleopatra forces are defeated at Actium, and Cleopatra is the African queen of Egypt. She and Mark Antony are romantically involved and decide to form a coalition, as you will, and try to gain power ultimately together, but they are defeated. Octavian accepts the title of Augustus, the Exalted One, and rules Rome. Under Augustus, Rome moves from a republic to an empire. So, under Octavian, the second triumvirate, Rome goes from a republic to an empire. So, it goes from a city on a hill to a republic. It takes over the northern section of Italy. It takes over the southern section of Italy, and it takes over North Africa. And as it grows, it becomes an empire. Rome enjoys 200 years of peace and prosperity, known as the Pax Romana, and typically a generation is 44 years. So, therefore, several generations of people enjoy this prosperity and this peace, this 200 years of peace. Remember, Pax means peace, Romana is Rome, the peace of Rome. A second government, Augustus, Rome's a blessed ruler, creates a lasting system of government. So Augustus creates a lasting system that helps Roman people. He glorifies Rome with beautiful public buildings, sets up a civil service to administer the empire. Julio Claudians and the Flavians. Julio Claudian emperors are relatives of Caesar. Julio Claudians are the relatives of Caesar, and they ruled for the next 54 years. Four military leaders claimed the throne after the civil wars in Rome. Vespasian and his two sons, the Flavians, restore order. Okay, so the Flavians are the two sons of Vespasian, and these are the descendants or relatives of Caesar, the good emperors. In 96 AD, the good emperors began their almost century long reign. The empire greatly grows and expands to present day Romania, Armenia, Mesopotamia, and the Sinai Peninsula, which is where Asia and Africa start. Is the Sinai Peninsula. That's where the connection between Africa is, and the Sinai Peninsula is right here in this section. Let me see if I can put my pointer. And this is the Sinai Peninsula right here. Okay, Sinai. That's an A. All right. So the Sinai Peninsula is this little part right here, and right here, this little piece of water is the Red Sea. And I'm just going to put a RS there. You see the Mediterranean Sea. You see the Black Sea here. You see, at the time, it's not really called Germany, but this is where the German states are. Gaul becomes France. You have Spain, and here is Portugal here. Draw the line of Portugal. And then you have Mauritania, which eventually loses a lot of that land, and most of this becomes Morocco. Okay, Carthage is here in this area right here. And you see Carthage, here's Sicily. So this used to be a part of Africa. Okay, here's Armenia. And you probably have heard of Armenia because this is where Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians, they're Armenians. And this is where Armenia is. Okay. So you're getting a sense of where everything is. Here's England here in the north, or Britain, Great Britain. All right. So the Roman Empire rules from Great Britain all the way to Africa. Okay. That's a big empire. All right. I'm going to erase all my ink. All right. And don't forget that Rome is here. This is where Rome is. Okay. The Hadrian reduces the empire to better govern it. The legal system of Rome, the Roman law unified the empire, and the same laws applied to all citizens in the empire. All right. Moving on. Agriculture and trade. Agriculture was the most important industry in the empire because you had to feed all of these people and the military. 90% of the Romans were farmers or farms. And common coin, the denarius, makes trade within the empire easier. So they had a coin. And Rome has a vast trading network, including China and India. The network of Roman roads links the empire to Persia and Russia. The vocabulary for this section: Civil War, Julius Caesar, Triumvirate, Augusta, and the Pax Romana. Life in the Roman Empire. The Romans developed a complex society in which different classes of people lived. The rich and the poor were divided. The rich led extravagant lives, and many had a villa. A villa is a very nice home. It's a country home. It's not in the city, and um, and a city home. A villa could be um, uh, walled off. Usually, villa has a wall around it, and it has a central area. And we're going to look at what villas are. So the rich had a country home, which is a villa, and a city home. They held banquets with expensive foods, and the men participated in politics and held public office. So they basically didn't work. Most Romans were poor, they were unemployed, they lived in crowded tenements, and they enjoyed the free food and entertainment provided to prevent uprisings. So the rich gave them free food. This was called bread and circuses. Bread and circuses. In order to entertain them and to keep them from protesting. So you see the patricians here, the slaves with the bondages. This is the military. And then you see the plebeians. Roman society. So you have free people or Roman citizens. These are the patricians and the plebeians. You have non citizens, which are the freedmen or the slaves. The patricians, again, were wealthy landowners, part of the ruling class, including senators, consuls, judges. They could veto the laws, and they were the descendants of founding fathers. The plebeians were the poor. They can own small farms and shops, and they fight in the war. They cannot lead in the government. So they're fighting in the war while the wealthy are enjoying the benefits of sending them to war and they're able to rule. The freedmen were people who were freed from slavery. They had very little rights and they cannot be a slave if they have their documents. They can own small farms and shops. The slaves work for wealthy people and they can be sold from one person to another. They can buy their freedom and the owners can free them. The slavery is a significant part of the Roman life in both cities and farms. Some slaves become gladiators and they're forced to fight to the death. The family is very important in the Roman society. Paterfamilias, or the family father, is the oldest living male. He had power over all of the family members. The families without sons adopt boys to preserve their family name. The women were under the control of fathers or husbands, but could inherit property. Lower class women could work outside of the home. The public entertainment included the government provided free games, races, mock battles, and gladiator contests. The Colosseum was built to hold 50,000 spectators. Chariot races took place at the circuses, and remember, these circuses were free. All of this was free. This was in order to keep the people from protesting. You got it. Theater was particularly comedies and satires, and they were popular. Public baths were popular places to bathe and exercise and socialize. Education in Rome, education and literacy was highly valued. Most parents taught children at home, and the wealthy hired tutors or sent sons to exclusive schools. And here's an actual picture of the Colosseum. It's now in some ruins, but you can see what it looks like. Gods and goddesses. Early Romans worshipped Numina, which were powerful spirits and divine forces. The government and religion connected deities and state symbols. So the government and the religion was connected, and there were deities and state symbols that were connected to those two sectors of the society: government and religion. Jupiter, Juno, and Minerva among the most important um, spirits that were worshipped or divine forces that were worshipped. The emperor also worshipped under the empire. The Romans adopted the Greek and Egyptian and Persian deities. So those Greek deities and those Egyptian deities and the Persian deities were all intertwined in the Roman religion. Priests were known as augurs, and they interpreted signs. They were consulted before important undertakings. All right, the vocabulary for this section: number 1, villas; number 2, paterfamilias; number 3, circus; and number 4, augur. This ends our first section or part 1 of ancient Rome.